Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And on today's Going In Raw news brief, we've got some details on WWE's Virtual Crowds. Miro Shoots on WWE Creative. We got a preview of tonight's Smackdown, but first it appears that AEW recently made some talent cuts. Larson, what's in the news?
So news started going around late yesterday on the wrestling internets that 3 AEW talents, Jimmy Havoc, B. Priestley, and Sadie Gibbs, had been removed from the promotion's roster page on their website. Last night, Wrestling Observer confirmed that all 3 had been released by the company, and then Dave Meltzer provided some more details as to why in this week's newsletter. So we had to say, quote, AEW hasn't been able to bring talent in from the UK due to the quarantine, and they've added a lot of new talent of late. Havoc was likely not being brought back for allegation reasons, as he had been suspended. The other 2 were largely due to their inability to get into the country, with nothing looking like will change anytime soon. So none of these releases aren't a huge surprise, I guess. And then Tony Khan had warned about the possibility, due to pandemic, of potential layoffs in appearance on the AEW Unrestricted podcast back in May. Steve, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, he said this. We've never really let anybody go here as a company. I'm going to be honest. There's going to be a day when someday we're going to have to, but now is not the time. According to this write-up, wherever I got this from. No, that doesn't matter. That's just a quote. So yeah, he also mentioned that interview, or in that unrestricted podcast appearance rather, that of course, revenue had taken a huge hit. Thank you. Because of pandemic, TV advertising revenue has been way down. The same thing right here happens on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So
of course, no ticket sales either, because they're doing all these empty arena shows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's taken a big hit too. So this isn't surprising. And with Jimmy Havoc, that seemed a bit more obvious. It was kind of surprising that they didn't just cut him outright back when this stuff was happening, but like sending him to rehab, giving him a chance. I haven't heard anything about how that's been going, and that's up to him. Maybe he wants to keep his privacy, and that's totally fine. But yeah, not terribly surprising. Sadie Gibbs, we hadn't seen him forever, and then B. Priestley, we'd seen just a handful of times.
Yeah, I think I read that Sadie last had a match in AEW in October.
Mm-hmm, yeah, wow.
It was February.
Oh, wow, okay. It'll be more interesting if he looks at other bigger names like Pac. Pac is the big. I mean, that's the big one, and I really doubt they're going to let go of Pac. He's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of interesting. We've seen the first. Now they've been around for almost a year, dude. It's almost a year.
Yeah, well, on television. I mean, I guess their official first show was Double or Nothing last year, as AEW. Mm-hmm. But as a regular wrestling company airing on television almost a year, about 10 months.
That was over a year ago. Oh, yeah. That was May. Wow.
Geez. Yeah, the first Dynamite was in October last year.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
They're coming up on a year as a televised product. Speaking of other televised product, WWE, they've been going at it for a lot more than a year. And we spoke yesterday about some changes they're making to their televised product, moving out of the PC. These reports came from John Alba in eWrestling News. They're moving from Performance Center to Orlando's Amway Center. That's the home of the Orlando Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And then today, Alba tweeted out a video of WWE production trucks pulling up to the Amway Center to begin loadout, apparently.
Yeah, that's
another
awesome.
thing. It is awesome. Another thing we mentioned yesterday was PW Insider's report that WWE was, quote, toying with using virtual fans as a possibility for future broadcasts, and WrestleVotes offered up some more details today. Steve, would you like to read this tweet?
Yeah, they said as part of WWE's new. It's Friday, man. I'm ready. As part of WWE's new long-term residency at the Amway Center, a new interactive experience will be introduced with over 2,500 square feet of LED boards, where fans will appear live on the show, hosted by superstars and legends. Applications to appear on screen will open next week. Larson, are we going to see somebody's live butthole on Raw?
This is what I'm really hoping. Remember that scene in Superman 2? Where Zod's in front of the
yeah.
I don't know what the panel was called, but essentially they were determining his guilt for something. I don't remember what it was exactly. But there's like these giant heads just looming. And that's what I want to see. It's this 2,500 square feet of LED boards, 10 feet high. Just don't make it seem like it's a real crowd. Giant heads. Just giant close-up people watching the show. That's what I want.
Well, here's the great thing, too, is that if you do the same thing, let's say they bring NXT there, you can have their demo all trying to figure out Zoom, just sitting there with their glasses on. I don't have my glasses near me. Trying to figure it out.
Just wondering how to change their name.
Exactly, that'd be great. Or none of them know how to just click the button to activate the camera.
Yeah.
So it's all just their name with the camera crossed out.
Yeah. Meltzer has some more info on this in the newsletter.
It'd be a bunch of these here.
There you go,
Uncle Leo heads.
So Meltzer notes in this week's newsletter that the recent changes to WWE's televised product are, quote, measures to attempt to turn ratings around because of how scary the drops with the younger audiences across the board have been. So I don't know really so much how much moving the product out of Performance Center into an empty arena, like literally an empty arena, is going to appeal to younger viewers. I mean, I don't know if huge LED boards are either, but it provides a bit of spectacle of the proceedings that was definitely lacking. So this could be either really comical. We'll find out at SummerSlam.
Oh, it's good. Look, regardless, it's gonna be comical. There will be laughs had. Yeah. But will it
be effective enough in terms of replicating the atmosphere of a full arena?
Yeah. Will the presentation replicate the energy that a live crowd brings? I'm pessimistic, but I would like some sort of change.
They gotta find something out how to deal with the latency issue where something happens, people react to it, transmits through the internet, and so 17 seconds later you have people popping for something that happened.
Yeah, I mean they've been able to because I know on NXT. Moro and Beth are zooming in or whatever teleconferencing they're using.
They got to have some sort of delay with the actual broadcast to sync it up with their commentary.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. That's a darn good. That's a darn good point. Somebody cracks a joke, like a scathing promo, and then 7 seconds later, as they're continuing on, you just hear, "Ooh."
Yeah, exactly. Gasp.
Yeah,
but I don't know how many of late at least. NXT hasn't been live. I think they're all taped, obviously. I don't know if they were doing the Zoom commentary sessions on live broadcast. I don't recall.
No, I think you're right. I don't think they were. Yeah, I don't know if any of the live ones. You're right. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because speaking of those demos, last week, AEW beat Raw across the board. I think at all three of their hours in the 18 to 49. AEW's demo beat Raw's demo.
Interesting.
So, hey, you're the one who always talks about how important that demo is. And I was saying AEW is going to catch up with the Raw on the ratings. At the very least in the demo, it's neck and neck these days,
That's the only demo that matters, man. It's the only one.
So they're there. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Also interesting stuff, some of the stuff Miro, FKA Rusev, was shooting on WWE Creative about. He was the guest on a recent episode of the Big Guy Ryback's podcast and spoke about his frustrations with WWE Creative, especially at the height of the Rusev Day phenomenon. How revolutionary is Miro that he doesn't go to the same podcast everybody else goes. He doesn't go to Talk Is Jericho. He goes to the Big Guy, to Ryback. What else did he call him? Did he call himself something else?
No, that's about it.
The Big Guy, right? That's what he called himself?
Yeah. Feed him more, yeah.
So what did Larson, what did Miro say?
Oh, these transcripts are via wrestlingnews.co. So he starts out with this. Why can't I? Because he's talking about he got some heat apparently for being on Total Divas because it allowed him to show his personality. quote, "Why can't I show my personality backstage? Why can't I go in the ring and do what I do? They told me don't look at people, don't smile, don't do this, and don't do that." I'm like, really? Because everything I'm doing, the people seem to like it. Why am I getting over, or you were telling me to do the opposite? And then he talks about what they would do to kind of quell the enthusiasm behind Rusev Day. Quote, "They started pulling my segments early so the Rusev chants can go away. There was a period where I wasn't even supposed to be at WrestleMania, the one that I lost to Jinder. At the height of my career of Rusev Mania, I was not on TV for 3 weeks. At this point, I'm sitting backstage listening to the people all day chant Rusev Day. At this point, I went to see one of the writers and said, this is not right. This is the first time I yelled at a writer, which I feel really bad. He said, we don't know what to do. I said, what do you mean you don't know what to do? Just listen. Stay here and listen. They will tell you what to do. I'm busting my ass to get to the top level, and finally I'm getting close, and they shove me down, and I don't understand why. What am I fighting for? In NXT, you fight to get the main roster because you're going to make more money. You're going to have a better life for yourself. In WWE, I did everything. I started getting into acting classes. I started working on my body. I started with all the extra stuff because I said, I'm not going to have nothing they can say, well, this guy is not this or that. I'm going to cover this 100%. I was just defeated. I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I give it one go, then a second go. I said, Vince, we have sold out of all our merchandise. We are beating Roman. We are beating AJ. We are beating everybody. He said, what do you mean? I said, the shirt is sold out. The merch is sold out. And he said, well, maybe they didn't make enough. I'm like, they didn't make enough shirts. That's why my shirt is sold out? Not because we were doing good? Really? You're going to give me that excuse? They didn't know if I should be a good guy or a bad guy. They couldn't make up their minds.
Yeah, I can see how that's frustrating.
Yeah. And at a certain point, you'd think, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do to get myself over. Money's nice. At the same time, so is satisfaction with one's job. So I don't know if he necessarily asked for his release, but something tells me, based on this, he might not have been totally disappointed that it happened.
Dude, there's got to be... it's... You know, WWE is actually really good at... I mean, that's one thing that I've noticed. Now that we have a national promotion that, like AEW, that allows their stars, their wrestlers, to sort of be themselves. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it just feels like it's sometimes it feels uncooked. You know what I mean? Whereas WWE, it's like the extreme opposite. It's like sometimes the cooking, if you will, the creative, the pouring all sorts of resources into a superstar, it really works. In WWE, sometimes it really works. In other cases, it's bizarre that they can't be more malleable and just admit, hey, sometimes these stars can get themselves over. We should let them run with it. And sometimes they do. Like with the New Day, you can't tell me they don't let the New Day run with their shtick.
Oh, I mean, my impression is that New Day pretty much gets to do more or less whatever they want. You know, and same with Daniel Bryan, seemingly Drew McIntyre as well. Not necessarily beat by beat creative or who he feuds with or they feud with, but in terms of promos, maybe some of the details, the storylines, that kind of stuff. I feel like there are people who do have a lot of input in terms of their creative, but you know, this is something I've said since Rusev Day really took off, is we don't know if Rusev's a main event guy. We don't.
Yeah.
But when you got someone who has repeatedly gotten themselves over, and you know, something like Rusev Day happens, and sure, maybe it was just a chant, but I feel like if it was, personally, I feel like it was more than that, because I feel like people genuinely like Rusev.
Yeah, sure.
Charming. Yeah. His character works really good. Every time he's given something, he makes it work. And you take that, you got a guy that people are getting behind, to not at least explore the options of pushing him. Yeah, it's bad business. This is a dude you can make money with, and you don't even try. I
don't get it. It's weird. Like, if you're not making enough shirts, okay, can we take a look at how many shirts are being made? I mean, that is what I'm really curious about, is that unfortunately he doesn't go into more detail about what was told to him
Yeah.
If it was anything of substance, I don't know how much time he got to spend with Vince when he was explaining this to him, or what was said back to him.
Was Vince eating, so not paying attention? Who knows?
Yeah, it is one of the most bizarre. His in particular is one of the most bizarre stories that we saw play out live in real time, and we're just sitting there racking our brains. Why aren't they running with this? It's like, I know I had my own opinion about Rusev, and that I had a hard time seeing him as like more than that, but I always fully understood, and I will completely admit this was a lost opportunity to see just how far they could take it. Mm-hmm. You look at Daniel Bryan and those Daniel Bryan chants that interrupted Raw, that with that big, the group, the Authority that one time, them taking him all the way to WrestleMania. Who's to say the same couldn't happen to Rusev? That's entirely possible. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know either. But at the end of the day, WWE's in the business of making money. If you got a talent on your roster who has a natural gift of getting themselves over, pursue that. Just for the sake of your own bottom line. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I don't understand it. Sometimes I wonder if it's the problem with being such a micromanaged company that they just can't see what's in front of them. They have their plans. They can't see what's in front of them. They don't understand. It's like, oh, crap. Now we have this over here. Well, we don't have time to properly, take advantage of it. So it's just got to go away. Well, that thing is a person with a career. And it's like, he's trying, man. He can make you money. Just let him do it. I think it's just it's too difficult for them to figure that out. There's too much going on. That's the only explanation I could possibly come up with. I don't know. I don't know. What we do know is that there is a Smackdown tonight, so let's go ahead and preview this. First, Braun Strowman promises a monstrous confrontation with the Fiend Bray Wyatt.
Wow. Triple Brand Battle Royal announced to determine Bayley's SummerSlam challenger. I'm actually really looking forward to this.
Me too. This is cool. Big E looking for another win to build momentum with a clash against John Morrison. Now, we didn't mention this, but I'll mention it here really quick. Alex McCarthy actually had an interview with Big E, and he said this. The WWE have told him, Big E, what the plans are for him in his solo run. He says he's not totally buying it until it happens, as is the ever-changing nature of WWE, but there seems to be a firm plan for Big E. At the very least, they seem to see something in him to have firm plans, Larson, as Big E notes.
They should see him as world champion because he could be world champion.
I agree.
Finally, Alexa Bliss will sit down for an interview to discuss her run-ins with the Fiend Bray Wyatt. They're going to do this in the most boring, least interesting way possible, aren't they?
I hope not, Larson. I hope not.
I feel like they are, though.
Alexa Bliss did a cool little sit down of her own, just like a little video where she talked about how bad she felt about leaving Alexa Bliss high and dry, pushing her down after her match.
Oh, Nikki Cross, you mean?
What did I just say? Alexa Bliss?
You said Alexa.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nikki Cross. Yeah, Nikki Cross. She did her own thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's cool. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool. I'm optimistic. I shouldn't be, but it's Friday. Anyways, we're going to be here for our SmackDown review tonight, live at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Apologies to people. I was feeling sort of, tired is the word last night. Too tired to do the Unsolved Mysteries stream and really give it my all. So I'm going to see if I can do it maybe on Saturday night. I got nothing else going on because we're in the middle of a pandemic, Larson. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.